I'd like to bring this meeting to order for the Town of Brunswick Planning Board for March 5th, 2026. If everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we start the meeting, I'd just like to make an announcement. There's been some feedback on the sound quality of our meetings. I would like to ask all the board members to make sure that they speak into their microphones and make sure they're on. And likewise, for any of the applicants that come up, please make sure you use the microphone at the podium. Thank you. Okay, our agenda tonight is as follows. Kyle Smith, site plan and special use permit. Applicant seeks site plan approval and special use permit to complete construction of a one major subdivision. Applicant proposes a major subdivision on 31.92 acre parcel of land, as well as to construct a new road with a cul-de-sac and a water lane extension on property located on the northeast corner of Spring Avenue and Crick Road. Paramount Building Group of New York is the applicant. Number 3, Silas, major subdivision. Applicant proposes a major subdivision on approximately 16.2 acre parcel on land on the property located on the on the east side of Cole Lane. Jim Silas is the applicant. Number 4, Mavis Tire site plan. Applicant seeks site plan approval to modify an existing residential structure into a Mavis Tire Supply motor vehicle repair shop. Say that quick about 5 times. Okay. On property located at 721 Hoosick Road. Richard Valdez. I'm terrible at pronouncing names, so I apologize. Is the applicant. Number 5, Golden Crust Pizza site plan amendment. Applicant seeks an amendment to a previously approved site plan to modify an existing commercial structure into the Golden Grain Pizza restaurant on property located at 585 Hoosick Road. Zephyr Ock is the applicant. And number 6, Grafton Quarry, recommendation to the town board. Applicant seeks to amendment to the town zoning law to change the zoning classification of 4 parcels on Brunswick Road and New York State Route 2. The town board seeks a recommendation from the planning board on the application. Grafton Quarry LLC is the applicant. Okay. Our first order of business is to review the minutes of our last meeting on February 19th, excuse me. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those? I did notice one possible correction on page 13 about the middle of the page. You're referencing a member Schmidt. I don't know who that was supposed to be, but we obviously don't have a member Schmidt. So, okay.
It was member Krieger.
Was that who it was?
Yes.
Okay.
I have that down.
So
I
it's
also,
member Schmidt Krieger. That's what.
Schmidt Krieger.
Okay. Is there any other corrections,
Yes.
additions?
Page 4, line 2. Asked how the project, who mitigate, it should be would mitigate the excessive noise.
Okay.
And page 5, line 11, it says that there would be effects to the wells in the neighborhood. It should be no effects, is what they said.
Okay.
That's it.
Done? Okay. Anyone else have any comments? Okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as they were corrected.
Second.
Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, first on our agenda tonight is the Carl Smith site plan. Kyle Smith, what did I say?
Use it, Carl.
Okay,
I'll answer to it. It's fine.
I'm not having a good night right now. All right, Kyle,
Yes.
site plan and special use permit.
Yeah.
I believe there were some questions about wetlands that had to be addressed.
There were. I have a letter. You guys should have the letter as well from the DEC.
Yes, we do.
Stating that he had no concerns.
There was two items on that, wasn't there? Yes, we received it. Basically, after reviewing the proposed plans you provided and the regulatory mapping, the proposed building construction will not be in the jurisdiction of DEC.
Yep.
And there wasn't there something else?
Well, we had a lot
Oh,
of,
yeah,
There were a number of items that I asked for to be on the site plan, and the applicant has provided those items, and they're all there now.
okay,
I also, you guys had requested elevations. So I had these printed up. It shows kind of, not exactly, but an artist rendering of about what the building will look like. And it also has elevations and things. I only
okay.
made 7 of them. I've got 9 of you up here.
Right.
So who doesn't get one?
Well, the engineer's got to get one.
Thank you.
And we're missing one person anyway, so.
You can share.
Thank you.
So that just shows the elevation of the building and, about what it's going to look like.
Would that be the correct outside lighting that you would probably provide?
Yep. Yes.
That's all down.
Yes. Yeah. Just standard residential style lighting, nothing high powered or commercial or anything like that.
Okay.
A drain in the floor? No. Floor foundation's already poured. The foundation is already poured. Couldn't put one in if I wanted to.
Is that an operating garage door or is it just,
It's the foundation is poured to have a garage there,
Yeah.
so I left the garage door in, but it's not going to be like a place to actually pull a car in or anything like that.
it's not operational?
No.
Okay, so it's just basically part of the,
Yeah, that's how it's
Aesthetics of the
previously poured. Yeah.
okay. Wayne, did you get all your information that you needed to,
I did.
and you are satisfied with all that?
I am.
And would you consider, with the addition of these renderings and the other letters, that the application is complete?
I would deem it complete, yes.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this? We have to schedule a public hearing for this. I had,
April 2nd.
the fire company has been.
No, I haven't done that.
Okay.
Do I have to do that prior to the public hearing, or is that prior to like
No,
construction
we-
or
I have a
prior to
note.
completion of construction?
I have a note here that they would probably request a Knox box.
Yes, you guys had mentioned that at the last meeting.
Okay.
I just haven't acted
And
on that.
I would submit a copy of these plans to the
Sure.
fire company and
Yeah.
let them review it. They usually send an email or a letter saying what they recommend. They probably recommend the Knox box. And I think they would probably, just sign off on it.
Yeah.
Send the site plan too.
I'm sorry?
Send the site plan too.
Okay.
But I think we can go ahead and schedule the public hearing and have that come in. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Linda? All right, then we can schedule a public hearing for this. It'll be, let me make sure I got the right date here. It would be the first meeting in April, which would be the 2nd.
Yep.
Okay.
Somebody have to notify Rensselaer County.
Do we have that? Has Rensselaer County been notified
I
on that?
believe Wendy did send it to them, yes.
Okay, so we should have an answer. We'll probably be about 30 days out.
Yep.
Okay. We have to send them a copy of the plan so they can review it for
Sure.
any potential development or conflict that they may have on the road.
Okay.
Okay, we can schedule a public hearing for the first meeting in April, which is the 2nd, and it would be you would be the first one, so it would be at 7 o'clock,
Great.
and then we can proceed ahead.
Okay.
Any comments that you have, you'd have to respond in writing to them. So I don't know what objections anybody would have, but I'm not going to speculate.
Sure.
So 7 o'clock. Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
I do not.
Does anybody have any additional questions for the applicant? And I guess we're finished.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is the Paramount Building Group. How are you tonight?
Well, how are you?
Good.
Evening.
Okay, before we start, I think you already know this, but I will make it announcement that the town had a meeting with DEC on this. They requested additional information. The meeting was last Friday. It was more or less a Zoom meeting. People in attendance and for the town were myself, Wayne, and the entire building department. And Chris was online. And they wish to, basically, they wanted to review this. There's a new, I think you already know, a new regional director there, Sean Mahar. And we went through an question and answer period. And they said that they were going to review the material that we gave them. And just recently today, they requested a copy of the SWIP. Is that correct?
Yes, but I don't understand why.
Okay. However, at the outside of that meeting, they said they were going to reach out to the applicant.
Okay.
So I don't know if that has happened or whatever. Basically to review the project as far as DEC's involvement. So there's been no contact from DEC to you, or
Sorry, what was the question?
there hasn't been any contact? Because we were kind of illustrated to them the timeline involved here with the 45 days. And if they had anything to do with that, we had to, or if they had any comments that they wanted to share or anything, that they had to be in before the 45 days. And we gave a date, I think, of March 22nd.
Correct. So just so we're all on the same page, we had our public hearing, the subdivision regulations in the town provide that following that public hearing, the planning board is to act on the preliminary plat within, I think it's 45 days. you measure out that time frame, it runs on March 22nd, I believe, and the last planning board meeting before March 22nd is your March 19th meeting. So we had updated in our conference with DEC on Friday, here's where we are, here are the timeframes, and we let them know that.
So at this point, I would have to feel that we have to wait until they respond on something on this before we,
To be clear, who to respond to what?
I think, well, DEC is asked to evaluate this, and I believe we have to get a response from them before we can actively pursue moving forward.
Well, maybe just let's break it down a bit. I think you had asked whether the applicant had heard from DEC since our conversation with them, the town's conversation on Friday.
Right. Oh, okay. So that was the question, whether we have heard. We have heard from DEC.
You
So,
have, okay.
so can you update us just as best as you understand it, based on your conversation with DEC, what's going to happen going forward, process, timelines, any information?
Yeah, we don't have much as far as process and timelines. DEC reached out. We spoke with Sean Mahar and some of the Mineland Reclamation staff, permit administrator, and a few DEC attorneys. Asked some questions about the project. We had gone over the timeline that we had obviously reached out to them last year. We did the site visit, so forth, our understanding of the regulations and the law, and we provided them with some information. And I believe they've asked for, or we said we would provide them some additional information that we're going to get to them tomorrow, and that's how we left it.
Okay. Then I would assume that moving forward, we would expect some type of response from them as far as what they're looking for or what their decision. I think they want to know whether or not there's something more here than, as far as possible mining permit or other permits. I'm not trying to speculate, but it seems to me like they want to reevaluate this as far as whether they want to be take a role as far as a lead agency on a certain thing. I think I'm basically saying is I don't know whether they're reconsidering
Yeah, and
whether
not-
this is actually a mine.
yeah, and I'm not sure either. I think it was clear to everyone that, the DEC retains jurisdiction over a construction project throughout the entirety of the construction project. So at any point in time, they can come in on a construction project and say, this is a mine. So, yeah, I'm just not sure what DEC will or will not do. We've asked them at the request of the planning board, is there, I know ages ago, they used to sort of provide confirmation as to whether something met the exemption or was subject to mine land reclamation law. They don't do that as a process anymore. We know that from their response, both in writing to the town and writing to us, and then at that meeting that we walked the site. I don't know that that's changed necessarily. So
Maybe I can chime in here a little bit. So this all came back up with DEC because the town received a letter from them February 17th. And it was from Regional Director Mahar. And in that letter, he basically suggested that DEC would be re-looking at this essentially. And his quote is, they requested information to assist DEC in determining mined land reclamation jurisdiction. Okay. What I don't know, so they're looking at something, okay, and it's about their jurisdiction. What I don't know, and the applicant may not know, is what that process is going to entail by DEC, right? Their review, their determination, how long it's going to take, and what everybody's going to get when they're done, right? Is it something saying we've looked at it and we confirm this is not a mining activity that we have jurisdiction over? Or something that says the opposite, we've decided this is? Or something that says at this time, but no promises for down the road, but at this time, we're not asserting jurisdiction. In terms of the overlap between this planning board process on the subdivision and whatever DEC is doing, you know, if the board at some point were to consider an approval for this subdivision, I would probably recommend, and we'll have a conversation about it, but recommend some kind of a condition that's attached to this DEC review process. Something where we, you know, nothing happens, no ground is broken until DEC has gotten back to us. What that's going to look like? Is it a letter? Is it, what are we going to get out of this? We'll have to figure that out, but I don't know that the planning board cannot proceed with the application while DEC is doing its thing. But I would want to make sure that whatever we do is attached and conditioned on the outcome of whatever review DEC is doing. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
All right.
Does that make sense to you?
So part of what we're going to talk about here as this process moves forward is if the board would consider an approval, are there any conditions that the board members might want to attach? I just suggested one, right, which is something tied to this DEC review, some sort of confirmation that DEC is not at this time accepting jurisdiction. There may be other conditions that the planning board members would want to consider attaching to an approval. I think we're going to start that conversation tonight. I don't expect that the applicant is necessarily going to agree or disagree with our thoughts on tonight, on our thoughts on conditions. They're probably going to want to mull it over, talk to their client, do some feedback. So I don't know that TJ, for example, is going to nod his head and say, yep, you know, that's absolutely, we're on board with that. They may, but they're going to want to think about that.
Okay.
But just to be clear, at the end of the day, we want to get feedback from the applicant on proposed conditions, but it's up to you guys to impose them. So, you know, you have the final control over that.
All right. So at this time, I would like to maybe open up the floor for some discussion on possible conditions.
Can you put your word? Sure.
Okay.
Just leave that for a second.
I mean, the first one, I mean, you and I went through a few, and I'm just going to throw these out here right now. We talked about the letter from DEC or some type of communication from DEC as far as, you know, what they're going to determine as far as jurisdiction, mine, whatever. And then the second one was a reclamation.
Yeah, you got it. And that was it.
Okay, reclamation bond and what that amount would be. And this is a bond put up in case for some reason the development does not go through, reclaiming the land back to a reasonable point of where it began. So I'm not sure what that amount is. We can discuss that. You can, we can come up with some reasonable number. You can come up with a reasonable number on that. But that would probably be one of the conditions that we'd want to, moving forward, have.
Okay.
A second one we talked about was a environmental monitor of some sort. Someone that's going to monitor the excavation of the site, truck numbers, loads, so forth and so on, and basically give a regular progress report on where you are. I'm not sure whether that would be like a temporary employee, a full-time employee, someone that would probably be at the expense of the applicant, I would assume. Does anybody have any thoughts on what that monitor would want to do? Okay.
Like, and I'll let the engineer weigh in on this, but I would assume that they want to monitor the amount of material that's taken off the site, the number of trucks that are leaving the site daily, that the stormwater management plan is being adhered to as far as the phasing plans that were submitted. And traffic control. That if there's a condition by which traffic exits the site to the south during excavation, that
Yeah, that's something we can
Monitor.
talk about, what we may require as a condition for traffic control, whether it's signage or flaggers or something, but I think we need to put something in there, but we can come to an agreement what that something is.
And the only other thing I could think of is the road. The road construction. That it be suitable construction method to carry the weight of the export. So you're not running into,
You mean the Hall Road? or-
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the property?
on
Not-
the property,
okay,
that
that's what you're saying.
the Hall Road, during construction, if the Hall Road becomes impassable and then you're excavating out more material and having to bring in more material, it can get, really,
well, that's kind
exacerbate
of,
the
it's kind
amount
of
of-
tied into the SWIP inspections and the adherence to the SWIP and construction entrance and, yeah. And maintaining the site, there has to be some level of maintenance on the site during all that activity. Whoever's in charge of the site has to be certified.
Right.
Under the stormwater regs, so you gotta have a card.
At the last meeting, there was also some issue of possible stacking issues on Crick Road.
Well, that could be part of the monitoring as well.
Could that be part of the monitoring?
I was going to mention the actual road conditions if any material spilled on any part of the roadway itself outside of the site. Throughout the whole, which we haven't gotten a final plan on the whole route, correct?
Yeah, so if I can just speak to the soil first, that's also part of the SWIP. So that is noted, any soil spilled is to be cleaned off the pavement. And that's certainly something that's enforceable by the town MS4 officer as well.
And there should also probably be a thought process if we, if the truck route becomes impassable due to an accident, what's going to happen there? Are you going to stop hauling or are you going to use an alternate route?
Okay. We can certainly,
So for a couple of months now, I've been asking, who's gonna haul this, and where's it gonna go? And you've never come up with an answer. You haven't told it. You've been very vague about whether this is gonna go north on Creek Road or south on Creek Road. I'm not ready to vote for anything until I have all the information.
I think we
Have you come to a decision on that?
No, we do not. We've been very clear with the board. I think since the outset, I think it's been clear to everyone that we purposely, so we don't have a excavation contractor under contract now because we don't have an approval. And so to address that issue, we have the traffic study both the northbound way and the southbound way on Creek Road. And if you look at the traffic study, you'll see the information they put in there about the impacts to both going north on Creek Road and south on Creek Road.
Well, I gotta tell you, going northbound on Creek Road is a non-starter
On that county road.
on Creek Road.
It is a county road.
If for
But I would like to see,
traffic or
I would like to see during the excavation that the trucks be not allowed to go north on Crick Road. I think that's a condition that I would like to see. I don't know how that can be actually a condition since it is a county road.
Ultimately, the county is the authority on whether or not they would allow your overweight trucks on that road, because it is posted for 10 tons. Whether or not they would allow you to actually go that way.
Right. And so just on that point, so the last meeting, I know several members of the board asked us whether we had started conversations with the county highway department. We did have subsequent conversations after that, and we've talked about the different traffic routes. It's something that we would consider in a condition. We would going south on Creek Road. I think the county is supportive of a south route on Creek Road. They went as far as saying that they are looking to do a construction job on Spring Ave. And if we were to go south on that, they would actually wait until we were done to then redo Spring Ave. So I think the county is aligned with that. But I just wanted to provide that. It just crossed my mind that we had that conversation, but I just wanted to provide that update to the board.
Okay.
Didn't we have a condition on the Hannaford project when they had a
We did,
lot of
we
material?
restricted which route the trucks were going to take.
Yeah, they couldn't go left out onto, they couldn't go
Lord,
east on
They had
Hoosick
to
Street.
turn right out onto Route 7 and then had to come in.
Yeah.
Right, from Route 7.
Was that,
County ever done a percentage restriction to say that only, let's say, 10% of the traffic can go one direction, or have you ever seen that before?
I
Is that a
actually,
possibility
well,
that
I
they
talked
might
to the county as well, and they are opposed to any of this traffic going north on Creek Road. And I think doing it as a percentage would be tough to monitor, tough to control. You know how truck drivers are, right? They have a mind of their own.
Until they stop.
Whatever Stewart's is closer.
How long, these are like what? Are they 20-ton trucks? What are they?
Well, they would likely do like
20,
like a triaxle
yeah.
truck. Yeah, the rules have changed
How
over
long
the
does-
years, but yeah, 20 tons.
How long does it take to load one of those?
Depends on what size bucket the loader has, but he could
No, but
probably load a
what
truck
I'm
in
implying
15
is
seconds.
this could be directly proportional with stacking. If they all have all these
Well, they would
trucks
have
here
to
and they can't,
control the circuit. They can't have everybody come at once. They have to come a few at a time, and they have to keep that cycle going, just like on a paving job. They like to keep some spacing in between.
They were talking about doing 17 loads an hour or something.
Yeah, something like that.
That's like a load every 3 minutes.
Yeah, they can load a truck pretty fast.
I mean, they
That's
can
just
use more than
loading.
one loader to load with too. I mean, they can have multiple loaders or multiple excavators loading trucks with them. I
But
mean,
that's the amount of pulling trucks. I guess the question I had too is, without knowing the route, what's the loop time? So if you're gonna take 17 trucks an hour, that's 3 minutes. It's not taking that truck 3 minutes to get out, up and come back. So to support that amount of trucks per hour, you gotta triple the amount of trucks available to do that. So that, without us knowing the route, I think it's kind of difficult for us to determine. There's gonna be additional trucks here than we think. We know there's 20,000 trucks that have been out of this site. That's because they're loading it at a certain rate. But for them to loop that material out and come back again, they want to keep that loop rate up. It's more than 20,000 trucks.
I
The
didn't
control
read.
is, the variable would be the minutes. The control is there's a certain amount of material to be moved, so that's only going to equal a certain amount of trucks, no matter when they come.
Right.
The frequency of the trucks would be just based on how, just the timing. I mean, one day they might not move any material. So it's 20,000 trucks, no matter what the route is. or the loop.
But I'm just saying that extends your time frame. If you're talking about the amount of loading time versus a 20-minute loop, same number of trucks. It
And right, so
extends-
they did those calculations in the traffic study based on a year and a half, and 2 years, and what those frequencies would look like and the impact those frequencies would have on the routes, both routes.
I would have to assume that whoever the contractor is has methods of, he'll know how to put these trucks on site at what intervals and so forth and so on. I would have to assume, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that we can control.
Well, we can't control it, no.
I mean, we can't put a
We'll call that the
condition.
means and methods of
Yeah.
the contractor.
Yeah, we can't put a,
We don't control the means and methods
yeah,
of how it's done. But
okay. So I mean,
we can monitor it and say, okay, you're way off pace. You're never going to get this done, after a few months, and have input into possibly the number of trucks or
Or if they exceed a certain number, then they're exceeding the threshold that the
Yeah.
traffic study was, say they have
we can.
I think from a planning board point of
50
view,
50
though,
loads an hour.
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm-
if you want to try and condition something, you have to condition the monitoring, basically. It's up to the excavator
What if
to,
he decides to use dump trailers, and then he can put more than 20 tons on a dump trailer?
okay.
Or do we
So
want to
how
restrict
do
that?
how do we, is there any type of condition that we can, or,
So we can explore. I think the applicant understands what the board is getting at, which is, I think essentially, the applicant has represented at various points how this excavation is going to be done, what control measures are going to be in place to minimize impacts. And that all depends on those controls being followed, right? So how are we going to know that they're being followed? We can just have faith that the applicant will do what they've said. And if we find out through building department, code enforcement inspection that they're not, we can intervene and get involved. Or we could have potentially somebody from the building department who's tasked with being on site and watching this stuff. But now that's an expense for the town, based on limited staffing and availability. Or theoretically, we could have a third party, or maybe even another option, it's somebody that the applicant designates on site to monitor this stuff and report back and certify that everything is going according to plan, or potentially a true third party that is selected, presumably paid for by the applicant to do the same thing. So, the applicant has represented, and I'm assuming in good faith, that they're going to do a lot of things to try and minimize impacts. So when you looked at traffic impacts, you looked at it based on a certain number of vehicle trips in and out per hour. We're expecting that they're going to adhere to that. And if they said it's going to be no more than, making it up, 16, it shouldn't be 30, right? Same thing with, we're going to have dust control measures in place. We're going to make sure the trucks in and out are tarped, and we're going to make sure we have spray water to hose it down. And if stuff falls off in the road, we're going to get that cleaned up promptly. So that's what a monitor would do, is basically just make sure that it's proceeding the way it was represented it was going to proceed. And if it's not, we become aware of it right away and we can act, intervene. So, it's a concept as a condition. I think the applicant would probably want to give us some feedback on those thoughts, what it might be, first of all, whether they're amenable to it or not. And again, ultimately it's up to you guys, but it'd be good to hear the applicant's position. And if so, conceptually, what language would we include in a resolution to implement that condition?
And even if, as we go forward, the easiest thing for us to conceptualize it is if the conditions, because we are talking about this, having helpful discussion, if we could get it in writing, it makes it easier for us to sort of respond to, or not even respond, but just provide commentary that the board may find helpful in coming to its ultimate decision. So we would request that opportunity. And whether that's the exact language being proposed or just sort of a concept, that's fine.
Well, you've come up with an excavation plan. Calls for, I think, 17 trucks per hour and so forth and so on. If you go to a contractor, is he going to evaluate that plan? I would assume. And is he going to offer some comments? You said you need this material removed within 2 years. This is the way I would propose doing it. Is that a discussion you would have with an excavator
No,
that would change the excavation plan? Possibly?
Oh, that they would change the excavation plan. Basically, the intent would be, at this time, for any contractor that is, selected for the work and put under contract, would follow the conditions placed upon the subdivision.
Okay.
Right. It would, that's the scope of the job would include adherence
Right.
to the excavation plan.
All
So
part of
he
project
wouldn't come
documents.
back and say, no, I can't do it this way. I got to do it this way. If you want me to move, 400,000, yards in X amount of time.
So I
mean, he
think what we're all getting at is there are some outside parameters set for how this is going to get done. And if they go to a contractor and say, hey, we'd like you to do this work, here are the conditions that you have to operate in, limits on traffic and stacking. And they say, well, we can't do that. Then they can't do that. And the option is either find another contractor who can, or potentially come back to this board and ask them to revisit and modify conditions, which you may or may not, right? So, it gets to the means and methods. We're not necessarily dictating the types of trucks, right? That's going to be up to the contractor to decide whether it's what Wayne was saying. But there's some things that we are going to have some limits on, and consistent with what the applicant has represented in its traffic study, excavation plan, all that good stuff. So that kind of sets the parameters, the conditions that they have to operate in. And they need to find a contractor who can do that. Did I say that correctly, TJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I had at last meeting asked some questions about grading and vegetation. We have over 11 acres of forested area being removed as per the seeker that was submitted. And I asked if there were any opportunities to save any of that vegetation by reduced grading
And we're still looking into that.
or adding additional vegetation back to the subdivision.
That was our understanding of your comment. We're looking into it.
Okay.
I have a couple questions on the water line. In most cases, I know Bill Bradley likes to see a loop. Is there a loop out to Spring Avenue at all on this?
No, I believe that is, the water line becomes under different jurisdiction there.
Okay,
The connection be at the metering pit here. But everything is, basically, the dead end is at the cul-de-sac.
so if there was a failure in the line, that whole cul-de-sac would be without water?
Theoretically, yes.
Okay. Now, we also talked about possibly extending the water line to the northern end of the property along the right-of-way or whatever, so other people could, other residents on Crick Road could go into it. Is that a condition that you would want to discuss with your,
We with the property owner? Yeah, we are discussing that with the property owner. We've conveyed that
and
request.
was there any response on that?
Not yet. We're still discussing.
Okay. I think you mentioned that you would have I don't know what you call it, a joint where it goes into the development that they could put an extension out beyond.
Correct, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
So
proposed to
that
have a
would,
T there with a cap if someone wanted to extend it in the future.
yeah, okay.
This requires a water district extension, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, that would be a condition that the water district extension be done.
Okay.
Lot 18, is that going to get us water from Spring Ave or from Crick Road?
I believe that would be, I believe this is Brunswick's line through here. So this time we'd expect it to be attaching and Spring Ave.
Tap in there. in Spring Ave.
Yeah.
So the junction between the Post and Kill water and the Brunswick water is a meter pit?
Yeah, there is a meter pit there.
And one other condition, there would have to be a bond put on the road, construction bond on your road there, on the road going into the development and the cul-de-sac.
The proposed town road?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be dedicated to the town. They would want that bonded. Once again, I don't know what the amount would be. We can
I
look
can
at that.
calculate that.
That's something, I mean, we can look at different developments and find out exactly what that would be.
We also need establishment of a drainage district for this. I know you've started it.
Mhm.
So we can make that a condition that establishment of the drainage district be completed.
Lots 17 and, I think you're 17 and 16, they're going to share a driveway?
These lots here?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Should they have a private road maintenance agreement? Like we did up in Tamarack Road?
So I can't quite visualize it from my angle, but typically when you have two properties sharing a common driveway, there has to be some sort of agreement between those property owners. Which one am I looking at here? Okay, so they come in.
11 and 12 right here.
That's 11 and 12.
So what, can you point out for me, just because I can't visualize it, what portion of that is going to be a town road?
None of this can be town road.
Eventually though?
Nope. This is
Oh.
a shared driveway.
So the town road would stop at the cul-de-sac? All right.
What's the width of that shared road?
20 feet.
So what's the frontage for those two lots on the cul-de-sac?
I believe 30 to 40 feet, I think maybe get that
For each lot?
per lot.
They have at least 15-foot frontage.
Yeah, they have a listing of that.
What's the longest length of the driveway?
Probably 400 feet.
So anything over 300 foot, they'll have to have a turn on.
Yes, we have the turn off the post here. You're correct.
How big are the town roads in the development going to be? How wide?
Ooh, I believe they are 10-foot lanes and 4-foot shoulders.
Okay.
We do
That's-
have that on the detail sheet per town standard. It's to be built per town standard.
We have shrunk them down because that's a lot of blacktop. But that would be something.
Yeah, it's not 28 feet wide of blacktop. It's
20 feet with,
Yeah. with, I believe, with the 4-foot gravel shoulders.
The two lots there that share that driveway, do they actually have frontage on Spring Avenue?
They do.
So technically, they could, apply for a driveway permit and enter those two lots from Spring Avenue?
If they obtained a a permit from the county, then
Okay.
I'm supposed to put it in.
That drops off there, doesn't it, from Spring
It
Ave?
does,
It'd
yep.
be
Yeah,
a little bit of
yeah.
effort.
And that's about-
Put a little fill over there, you know, kind of equalize the site.
Those houses are gonna be in the drop
Oh,
off.
I thought you were talking about spring.
I know somebody that's got
No.
one.
It's just- There's a little, there's a figure that comes like that.
Okay.
There's a $500 per lot rec fee. It's gotta be
What was that?
There's a
$500 per lot.
Parks and
fee.
Recreation fee per lot.
You're good with the roads, Wayne?
Yeah, and actually, Mike Bailey had reviewed this and made some comments, and they adjusted their plan based on Mike's comments as well.
So they'll either be grass or gravel shoulder, swale, or whatever the 10-foot travel ways and then 4-foot wing,
Correct.
and there'll be grass or probably be grass. But
There'll be grass swales because of the grade of the road. If that road was much steeper, they'd have to put riprap in.
if they don't put grass in it, it'll just wash, right?
Any other conditions anybody wishes to mention at this point?
The Rensselaer County, right, the lots have to go to Rensselaer County for septic approval.
Russ, typically you guys discuss a number of days per week for work, hours of operation, holidays.
Now, we're talking the construction, not the excavation? or what?
That would apply to the excavation as well.
Okay.
In the building.
Yeah, you had, you told me what they were last time. I believe you were talking. Let's see. Saturdays and Sundays, it would be 8 to 5 and 9 to 5 on Sunday.
Sunday.
Is that right?
I thought Sunday was a day off.
Or am I thinking, if I got some note for something else?
I think so too.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Disregard
but I think
that.
The excavation plan had narrower time frames than that.
For some reason, I'm remembering Monday through Saturday. I'm not remembering Sunday. I could be wrong.
I think I got a wrong application with that note. I'm sorry.
But we can dig into the file and
I
Yeah,
think that was Mavis Tire, Russ.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got Mavis right next to it. Yeah. Sorry about that,
No worries.
but we should determine those hours. I thought that they were in the excavation plan, right?
They are.
And you said traditionally they would apply also to the
We
construction?
typically memorialize them as conditions.
General conditions for both excavation and,
Yeah, I would consider that one myself, yeah.
okay.
Do you agree, Chris?
yeah, I was just gonna say theoretically, you could have a different set of hours that applies to excavation activity versus construction. So for excavation, this, for construction, that, or you can just have one comprehensive set of days, hours, and holiday.
Okay. So that's something we have to work on.
So apropos of that, I anticipate it's going to take some time for us to develop these conditions that we've kind of conceptually talked about, share them with the applicant to get the applicant's feedback and work on language. So as I mentioned when we first spoke, right now, the deadline for planning board action is March 19th. I would ask whether the applicant would consider consenting to an extension of that for a little less than 30 days to at least put us out to the second planning board meeting in April, which I believe is April 16th. to give everybody time to work on and think through these conditions.
And we would be okay with that. We would consent to an extension.
Okay,
So for the record and for the minutes, the period for the planning board to take action on the preliminary plat has been extended with the consent of the applicant to April 16th, 2026.
That is just to be clear, that's the date of the second.
I'm reasonably sure that's true. I think the first meeting is April 2nd, and then the next meeting would be the 16th
Okay.
of April.
don't ask me, I'm probably getting it wrong.
So, well, we don't want it to expire the day before the meeting.
Yeah, that
No,
would be no
the
bueno.
first one is the second, so the 16th
Yeah,
would
okay.
be the.
Yes, we're okay with that.
Okay. So you're okay with that? Okay.
Yep.
And hopefully between now and then, we'll get some type of comment or whatever from DEC of where they're going with all this, I would assume.
It's possible. I can't speak
Yeah,
for the
I-
department.
Don't look at me, I don't know.
We've been trying, so.
Well, as far as they know right now,
And I'm
they're
being,
working on the,
I'm being facetious, but, you know, both between the applicant and the planning board, we can certainly reach out to DEC to see if we can get some more information on process, timing, you know, just to set expectations.
okay,
And we'll hear what we hear.
all right. With this in mind, do you want to be placed on our agenda for our next meeting, just as to progress along, or do you want to wait until we get something, a draft in writing that you can look at?
So the question is there a point to you folks coming in while we're potentially talking about between attorney and attorney potential conditions? You're certainly welcome to come, but if that wouldn't be a good use of your time, then that's fine too.
Yeah.
So that's the question. Like, do you want to be on the agenda for the 19th of, second meeting this month or not?
If we were able to get something in writing to review, I think we can turn stuff around fairly quickly. So maybe put us on tentatively, and if we get closer, Chris and I can talk, and if there's nothing to share, then we can just
Absolutely. Okay.
back out of the withdraw from the meeting.
Do you have any immediate questions on any of these conditions?
No, not at this time.
Okay. And I'm going to put you on the agenda for the 19th. And that's tentative. And we'll go from there.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other questions for the applicant? And do you have any other questions for us?
Nope, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Okay.
time.
All right. Number 3 on our agenda tonight is Silas.
Good evening, Aaron Vera with Verity Engineering, here tonight representing JJ Sillis Builders, Inc. For the 15-lot subdivision, the Stonehurst subdivision off of Cole Lane. We were in front of you 2 weeks prior. Took us about a week to get the full environmental assessment form to town staff. And we're here this evening just seeking a lead agency determination.
Okay.
I reviewed it.
Okay.
I did. It's fine. It's good.
All right. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Just a refresher, this is basically a continuation of a project that's been in the works for years. And there wasn't much change to the original plan. They did submit a updated EAF. That we all got. And the thing before the board right now is whether we want to be declared lead agency on this. Any questions down at that end? Any questions down at this end?
I just I have a question about the road. That went before the town board. It got approved and we're good with that. Yeah, it's behind us.
Yes, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the dispensation, I
Yeah.
guess we'll call it, of having more than 12 lots on a
Correct.
cul-de-sac was done a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think it expires.
Okay. That was my only question.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Or to declare ourselves lead agent? agency?
Well, do we still need to
Send out a
circulate?
Notice,
We need to circulate for lead agency. So the motion would be to,
circulate.
Circulate.
correct.
Okay. You have a question? Okay.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
No.
Cole Lane, when you first go into it, it slopes down, is that correct? Or it slopes up?
That's a good question. I
believe.
don't think I could answer that question, but we're about a quarter mile back, about 1,500
As I
feet back.
recall, Aaron, I think it comes off at a negative pitch for Coal Lane and then goes up.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It goes up at
there's
The
something-
topography
it's-
for this
it's
site
deep.
certainly goes up before
Yeah,
it drops
it's
off towards the
8%,
east.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't tell what with this topo.
Understandable. We will provide full-size drawings from here on out.
You indicated some wetlands here. I'm just curious about which way the water's going to go.
The water flows this way.
So this is all uphill then?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. The road that goes into the site goes up about 10.5%.
Yeah.
Until it flattens out towards the cul-de-sac.
That's all.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, there's a motion to circulate a notice of requesting lead agency. Do I have a second to that? Okay, is there any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll have that sent out and we'll see where we go from there.
Excellent.
What else can we do tonight here? Are you looking for anything else as far as comments on anything?
No, I wasn't. I wanted to, start the process on the lead agency determination. And then there's some additional information that town staff and the town's engineer has requested, and that's on us to provide. We are also still awaiting a jurisdictional determination on that small pocket of wetland that we had talked about at the previous meeting.
Right.
And so, we'd feel more confident moving forward with this process once we have that determination, because if the state takes that wetland, it's a very different path forward for us.
Okay. Wayne, do you have any other questions?
I have no other questions.
Okay. Chris, do you have any questions on this?
I do not.
Okay, then, do you want to be, what is it, a 30-day response?
So typically, from when the letters go out, the other agencies have 30 days to object, and if they do not within that 30 days, then we can declare ourselves lead agency. I don't know if the letters will go out tomorrow necessarily. It might be Monday, but it is a 30-day wait.
If we
So
could,
it
if we could be
would-
placed on the April 16th agenda, I think that would be,
Sure.
give the town plenty of time to circulate notices, and hopefully we'll hear back from DEC in that time.
Okay. That's 3 meetings from now. Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, number 4 is Mavis Tire.
Hi, good evening. Andy Brick from the Brick Law Firm. Nice to see you again. It's been a while.
How are you?
Recently been brought on board to assist with Mavis. With me is Kevin Hickson from BL Companies, who's one of our project engineers. And Mr. Chairman, the applicant's name is Rick Velarde. He's with Mavis, so it's Velarde. We introduced this last month briefly. You gave a lot of good feedback, a lot of good comments. We know we still owe you some stuff, some documents. We are working on that, but we did want to keep this time on the agenda this evening just to give you a brief update and answer some of the questions that came up as we are working towards our full submission. First, we are going to submit a full environmental assessment form, which was recommended by Wayne, and it's a good idea, and we're working on that. So that will be part of our package. And also this evening, we do have elevations, and there's site-specific elevations to show you of the building. We thought it was going to be generic, but they actually were able to put together the actual site-specific proposed building renderings. And we anticipate that we'll have everything that you're requesting in our full submittal in order to be scheduled for the first meeting in April. We wouldn't be asking to get back at your next meeting, but we think we can be submitted and be on the agenda for the first meeting in April. And with that, I turn it over to Kevin to walk through some of the comments and questions and concerns that came up at your last meeting. And thank you for the opportunity. Look forward to working with you for this project.
Thank you.
Evening. For the record, Kevin Hickson, 355 Research Parkway, Meriden, Connecticut. Senior Project Manager at BL Companies. Yep.
Tip it up and speak a little louder.
There you go. Kevin Hickson, for the record, Senior Project Manager at BL Companies, 355 Research Parkway. And tonight, I just wanted to go over my direct report. Mr. Robert Rolls was here last month just to give the planning board an overview. And I'd like to just follow up on a couple of things that were discussed. And also, we will be submitting a full application, detailed site design, stormwater report, full set of plans, photometric plan, photometric lighting plan. So it will be a comprehensive plan submission to the town and town staff for their review. We did have a pre-application meeting with the town last year. So we got some input from the town staff early on. But let me start with a couple of things that were brought up. The green space question was asked. The existing green space that's there now is at 16,694 square feet. That's 60% of the site. The site being 0.647 acres. The proposed condition with the Mavis Tire will be at 10,411 square feet. That's a 37% green space. So that's a 23% reduction from existing to proposed. One of the questions was asked about the driveway shift from the existing to the proposed. It's about 15 feet north going up Mohawk Avenue. Our driveway also does not line up with the proposed entrance across Mohawk Avenue for that development. They actually line up with, they're further up and past our property, and they line up with the driveway of the residential house that's behind us, the abutting property owner to the north. As Attorney Brick had mentioned, the full environmental assessment form we will provide. And we will provide the noise level information for the operations of Mavis Tire. Another question that was asked was about the light. The lights do shut off at night. So they're on a timed shut off. And I believe that's at 11 o'clock at night. I believe the monument signs and the building sign would still stay illuminated, but the rest of the lighting would actually shut off at that time. And then, obviously, we know about the Article 7, Section 160 dash 55, which are the site plan requirements. So we'll make sure we meet those requirements in the checklist when we make our submission. And then building elevations, obviously, I've handed that out to all of you. I think it's one of the southeast corner is at a 25-foot 6-inch height. And I believe the other side is at less than that, but that southwest corner is where the entrance is for that Mavis Hire, and that's at what that building height would be. And the sign variances, there's some concern about signs on tire stacks. We would not be doing that at this site. So I just want to make sure I convey that message. And then one of the questions was why no curb cut on Hoosick Road? Basically Hoosick being the state route and versus the one entrance that we're proposing off of Mohawk. And the reason for that is the grades, the delta between the grades of our tie-in on Mohawk Avenue at roughly 45, 46. The elevation of the roadway is at 476, 477. Just makes it a tough transition to try to put a right turn out only, given the fact that we're trying to tie into Mohawk Avenue.
Plus, there's an effort
yeah.
to reduce the number of curb cuts on Route 7
Yes.
anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Good. Because there was never a curb cut from this existing site to begin with. So we want to try to reduce that. We did provide a sliver widening on Mohawk Avenue. It's 20 feet wide now. We want to sliver widen that to by 4 feet to 24 foot wide. We had our meetings with in our pre-application meeting. It was told to us that some of the school buses that go up do have a tough time navigating and do tend to back up some of the traffic on Hoosick Road. So we're trying to be cognizant of that aspect from our pre-application meeting. So that will be indicated in the full comprehensive plan set that we will be providing as reflected in the concept plan. And then one of the question was having the tire bays, which all 7 bays, which face Hoosick Road, about rotating it 90 degrees counterclockwise, facing Mohawk. It actually wouldn't, you're actually putting the building closer to the back property. And I don't think we've actually took a quick look at it. We wouldn't meet the parking requirement for that. I know we're at what's the required parking of 25 spaces. So doing a rotation like that, because our property is the longest part of our property is from east to west or from right to left on page right to page left, rotating it to the shorter dimension wouldn't be conducive for parking and meeting that requirement. And then we sent out the plans to the fire company. We sent that out on March 4th. We haven't heard anything back yet, but certainly we'll work with them, make sure that we provide what their fire apparatus is to, run some circulation routes of their fire apparatus that they use. So we'll be in contact with them to make sure that we indicate that in the plans, and that'll be in our set. And then the last item was the dumpster pickup times. This would be in the afternoon, as confirmed by with our client, Rick Valverde. So I think that's all I have for now, unless
Just so you know, the signage on the right elevation would require ZBA approval. You only allow signage on the front of the building, so anything on the side would require ZBA approval.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Appreciate it, Kevin. And that could be modified, and we'll get with our client to indicate that as such. Any questions from the planning board?
This wooded area that you designated in the back of the plan, that's probably all going to go during construction.
Right.
And are you you gonna put up some sort of visual barrier? And I know you want to be good there.
Yes, we're gonna we're gonna have a landscape plan. You're talking about at the back of our property. We would be supplementing in the back portion because it does rise up in grade toward the back. So that gives us an opportunity to provide additional screening, evergreens. That's usually the better part of it. If we have to get into fencing, we can certainly do that as well. But that gives us that opportunity, and that's why once we got that right-of-way line from the New York State DOT, then we knew exactly where that property line fell. I was hoping it'd be further toward Hoosick.
Let's go up in a month. But, the latest, what day is Thursday? And that's ends at 8:30.
Yep.
All the other days end at 5 or 6.
Yep.
My question to you is, why do these lights need to stay on 2.5 to 3 or 4 hours?
I can ask the client that. Usually it's more for security.
You say there's gonna be enough spillover.
Right, right. Well, we'll provide a photometric plan. Right. Right, right. We'll provide the photometric plan in terms of where the light spill would be. And then we'll also go back to our client about the timing of the shutoff of the lights based on their operations, so. Yep.
Are you gonna have any retaining walls on site?
Yes, we will have retaining walls. There will be walls on a wall on the south side, basically abutting parallel to Hoosick. It'll be about a 5 to 6 foot retaining wall. And then as you wrap around to go up Mohawk, there'll be a kind of continuation of the wall that goes around. It won't be as tall as across the street because we're going to be at a lower elevation where we're tying in on Mohawk at 46. So our elevation FFE would be about 45.
Building on the roadside, a 5-foot wall.
Hoosick Road would be, about a 4 to 5 foot wall. We're going to try to grade down so we can limit the height of the wall, from the edge of the parking lot.
Sort of a plan for the barriers for cars that might accidentally drive off that?
Yes, there, absolutely. And it's, between the guide rail and any fencing. We don't want falls going, anybody going past that point. We would provide that protection.
Overnight vehicle storage, inside, outside?
Nope.
Combination?
Nope. I was told that there would not be any overnight storage of vehicles on the site. I'll follow back up with you on that.
I don't care if they're inside, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Over bay 4, what are the 2 white spots on the plan? It's on both sides of the drawing there, but. It's also on the right elevation too.
Oh, sorry.
It's on both, it's on the front and the right elevation, 2 white spots there. That's some sort of structural item for the building or?
Which?
Lights or?
Yeah, they're lights, I believe, like sconces, light sconces, I think is what they call them. But I'll confirm with the client.
What do you do with the used?
What's that?
You don't store any used tires at the site.
No.
They go every day.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think I asked this before, is there going to be a directional curve for exiting traffic on Mohawk, only go towards the street?
A what?
Like a directional curve?
Oh, yes,
Exiting
yes.
traffic
Yeah, we would be,
on
yeah,
Mohawk,
to
only
try to,
towards
right,
the
more of right turn out onto Mohawk, yes. We would be trying to provide that. So we'd have to fix the geometry on the northern side of that. And obviously with signage too, we'd want to provide that.
I believe this has been asked before, but you're in discussion with the fire department.
Yep. And there's ways that we can do roll-up curbs so that emergency vehicles can get in and out, but prevents the everyday vehicles from, trying to make that movement. So we'll make sure we get that apparatus from the fire company on their size and the turning movements.
I got a question regarding the wooden retaining wall that you have in the back there. That creates what I would assume, a flat spot, but what is that for?
They just put like plants on top of it, and in the existing condition is what you're referring
No,
to?
I'm kind of, is that wooden retaining wall something that's already there?
Yeah, it's already there.
Oh, okay, so
Yep.
you're going to do away with that?
Yes.
Now, the question I have is, the fire company may want to have some type of access to the back of that building.
Mhm.
I'm not an expert on that, but in certain cases, they would want a emergency to fight a fire on that side. They can fight it from here, but they might want to be able to get in the back. Would the area where the dumpsters are, could that be like extended back in case of emergency to,
Yeah, we can coordinate with the
I would run that
the fire
by the
company,
fire
yeah.
company.
Yep.
They might want to say something about that. And you say that the tires, all used tires, are going to be removed from site, like at the end of the day? Would they
Yes.
have like a box truck come in and take?
Yeah, I
it out?
believe it's a box truck that comes in to pick those
And
tires
that's
up.
daily, they do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So in the retail area, sales area, that would only be new tires?
New tires, correct.
Okay.
Is there any proposal about solar panels on the roof?
I'll have to ask. I don't know. I'll have to ask that question. I don't know.
Is the parking that is requested by the town code typical for this size facility?
For their operations, Mavis Tire will conform to whatever the town requirement is.
I'm just wondering if they typically see less parking required than,
It's been this amount.
Okay.
Just with the, people coming in and going out.
Sure.
And the employees that would be working there.
Speak up a little bit. I don't hear so good.
It's the amount of parking spaces, of 25 parking spaces, is adequate for Mavis Tire operations between the employees and the customers that they receive.
I just had one other question. On this drawing, AL1, you indicate metal vault door. What is that?
This is an existing site. I just said, see, that's the dental office?
Yeah, that's the existing survey. So that's everything we captured as far as existing conditions. And I think that's the
Water line runs in.
water line. That's the water meter pit.
Could be a meter pit or something.
Yep.
How many employees would this be at the store at any given time?
Let's see if I have that right off the top of my head here. 25 to 30. 7 to 10 people. 7 to 10 people.
Would it be fair to assume that there could be possibly 10 employee cars in the 25
Yeah,
spots?
it's possible. Yep.
And the remaining 15 cars or spots are enough for customers?
Well, they also have the bays too, right? So if the cars come in, they got the 7 bays in addition to that. But typically, they operate with 25 to 30 parking spaces. So this is meeting the criteria of that window.
Okay. And they don't run into situations where all of a sudden they have a day where there's 10 people. You have to get an appointment to have your
No, you can do walk-ins.
Okay.
So it hasn't been an issue. But I can circle back to the client.
Well, I'm just concerned that there won't be parking places if you have 7 to 10 used up by employees. That leaves, 15 to 18 spots that could be open. All of a sudden, you have all these bays, you have people sitting there. I'm just more concerned about the spillage.
Mhm.
I don't want to see spillage out onto,
Oh, absolutely
Mohawk.
not. Right.
that's my concern.
So this is a full service. Hey Russ, I'm not getting down on the mic. Can you have Don move can you move your mic up? I'm not getting you on the,
Yeah, you got it.
thank you, Don.
So this is,
Yeah, you got to turn it on.
It's a,
you're on. Testing. So this is a full-service store?
yes, for tires.
You're gonna do oil changes, tune-ups, brake jobs, exhaust systems? I mean, you're gonna do the whole enchilada here?
They will do oil changes. They will do obviously the tires, state inspections, exhaust system, shocks and struts, and brakes.
Above the dumpster, that number 1, that's a parking spot.
Yes.
Have you thought about putting access from the sidewalk on the west side of the lot? People want to drop their car and walk to Taco Bell or something?
The with that sliver widening, the sidewalk gets a bit problematic where we have like a bunch of there's existing utility poles with the transformer. They have transformers on the utility poles. There's also guy wire. It's just it's like 2.5 feet between
Doesn't work.
the new curb and where the sidewalk will be. So it's just very, and then there's a fire hydrant as well. In our opinion, it's a little bit like a sidewalk to nowhere. I understand your point of view if it makes a connection to Maver's Tire, but it's just a lot of things going on there, and we're trying to be cognizant of widening the road as best as we can, keeping the utilities where they are, so no, I guess to the sidewalk.
Would you do something to go across Mohawk to get to the, because there's going to be a Chipotle.
Yeah, across the street.
So would there be signage on the road or like a crosswalk signage? Or
That
something?
that and something like that.
A designated crosswalk to go that way, maybe?
We could take a look at that to see if that's possible. I think trying to go down with the grades and everything, because I know that's pretty steep too on Mohawk. But going across, we can take a look at that.
There is going to be a sidewalk on the other side of Mohawk. Going up.
Oh, there will. And they're going up just for their own frontage, right?
Which goes past your.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we could take a look at that.
So you won't need sidewalk on his side of Mohawk?
Well, he would need access to that sidewalk, and then always get to Mohawk, maybe a crosswalk or something,
But as far as putting the sidewalk down here,
Well, there's going to be a sidewalk going up on that side, so he can get cross continuity. He would need to do that.
In an earlier conversation, you mentioned that there's going to be a directional curb to prevent people from exiting your store and going up Mohawk Avenue to make a loop around to get over to Roosevelt.
Correct.
So what you have now is basically incorrect for the,
Yeah, it's yes, it's your conventional two-way entrance.
okay.
Have you started any soil investigation for your stormwater management system?
We have not started the stormwater soil investigations, but we have performed geotech investigations. Kind kind of where we thought groundwater would be, 3 to 8 feet below. But we are picking up the site in elevation. But we'll have to perform those investigations because I do envision us having just based on the green space, providing that volume and water quality treatment for stormwater.
This question may have been asked. The existing structure there, the dental office, the new site, what's the difference in elevation from ground level there up to the new? You said you're going to have a 3-foot wall possibly, so I'm assuming it's going to be at least 3 feet higher.
The FFE is 482.84 of the existing structure.
Yeah.
So that's the existing. So if you think about 42.84, and we would be picking up that area to 485.
Okay.
So a couple of feet will be picked up.
Okay. Was there any, does the existing structure have a basement? I mean, the question I'm going to ask is, did you see any, water problems in the basement of that house?
I have not been in the house. And hang on.
Because if you move north where they put the new development, all those houses had water problems in the basement and there was active springs along there. So I know you went through this, you're testing the soils now.
And we're going to do further investigations too, right? We want to be clear of the limiting layer, which would be the groundwater or rock,
Which leads me to the drainage plans that, stormwater plans that might have to be like detention areas underground in the,
Yeah, it's likely they'll be doing underground infiltrators under the
Right.
parking lot.
Yeah, and whether we able to do, a swale to go around, the Mavis Tire building, or we can have opportunities to do that with stormwater management practices of SMPs to kind of further enhance the water quality. So we'll get creative with that.
any other questions?
In the last meeting, the gentleman that was here,
Yes. Mr. Bob Rolls.
in the last meeting, the gentleman that was here indicated that your retaining wall along Hoosick Road would be 3 feet high. Now, this evening, you mentioned another number, 5, 6 feet, something like that.
We haven't worked out the grading plan yet, so maybe he's got
I don't,
yeah, but we'll work that out. I mean,
we don't need something 10 feet.
no, absolutely not. Because if you think about it, the FFE of, 42.84, our FFE would be 485. I don't expect that to be a significant change in elevation and in terms of wall heights either. So we'll do everything we can to reduce the size of the wall.
Do you have a specific plan of the type of wall, what it's going to look like?
We don't right now, but we will provide that in our package that we'll present to the planning board.
So we should be looking forward to getting the full EAF. We don't have a full one.
Yes.
All right. Is that something that we would have available at our next meeting?
Yes, we plan to have that with our submission.
Okay.
So that, yes, April 2nd.
Oh, that's right. You're talking about April 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If Kevin wants to have it into the next meeting, I'm fine with that.
No, that's okay. April 2nd is good.
Okay. Well, I think if there's no other questions, and if you don't have any questions for us, I think we're done for tonight.
Appreciate your time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll see you on the 2nd.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Golden Grain Pizza.
Good evening, Nick Costa from Advanced Engineering and Surveying. And we're here to give the planning board an update to, since the project was originally here and approved, there's been a couple of changes that have occurred in the field. And we have been in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals to request a variance. And we also want to get the planning board up to date with regards to the changes that have been made. The board that I have up shows in tan color 3 areas that have been changed since the site plan was approved. The first change is the outdoor dining area. The outdoor dining area is now a little bit bigger than what was approved. And at the rear of the building, there's an area that was scheduled to be the HVAC system was supposed to be installed there. And now we have a ramp and a loading dock that's shown there. And then at the rear of the building, there's coolers that have been, an area has been constructed to accommodate the coolers. So those are the 3 areas that have changed from the approved site plan. And with the Zoning Board of Appeals, I'll give you some more detail of what the request is that the outdoor dining area, it only has 5 feet from the property line. This is the outdoor patio area, outdoor dining area. It's only 5 feet from the property line. And the overhang is actually probably a few inches over the property line. So that's what we're requesting. We've also discussed, and Kevin and the planning board attorney is also the zoning board attorney. We've been discussing reducing the overhang from, what is it, Kevin, about 4 feet to 2 feet?
Yes.
Yeah, so, so that it reduces the amount that it goes out into the right-of-way. So
Just as a clarification,
Sure,
the right-of-way is the property line here?
yes, that's correct.
So the overhang is now in the right-of-way, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
So you're proposing to get it out of the,
Yes,
all right.
by removing 2 feet, from the 4 feet that it currently overhangs, it'll bring it back onto the site.
I'm not going to try and put you on the spot, but we originally approved this small outdoor area.
Yeah, it was 9 by 13, was it?
Yeah. And
9 by 20.
Or 9 by 12.
How did it get to be built this way?
We weren't involved during the site construction, the building construction. Apparently, when the building plans were developed, on the building plans, the outdoor patio was enlarged.
Okay.
There's a transition when it gets site plan approval, and then they develop the building plans.
Yeah.
And the building plans were developed by another consultant.
Under the original site plan. The building is also, only 5 feet from the, and then down below, the other corner of the building is 8 feet. Did you, refresh my memory, you had to go before the zoning board to get?
No, we didn't. That was omitted.
Okay, that's because it was an existing,
Yeah, it's a non-conforming existing structure.
okay. So now, I'm kind of confused on how all this other stuff came into play here. That wasn't on the original plan. Well, the ramp and the concrete loading dock.
Sure.
What was there before that now all of a sudden you need this?
The HVAC system was installed as rooftops instead of being installed at that location where the loading dock and the ramp are. Originally, that area was going to be used for the HVAC system. They ended up installing the HVAC system up on a roof.
And they need these, they didn't have a loading dock before?
No, they would have to
They were going to
unload.
load from the front.
They could load from Oneida, but they would have to bring it into either the doors that are on the patio or the front. That's correct.
Okay. And that was discussed at our last time we reviewed this plans. So now you're correcting a problem of having to
Go around the front.
go
yes.
around and so forth and
Yep.
so on. So this is an improvement. obviously,
It's a
not-
betterment of a situation, yes.
okay. Because I can see, the truck, parking on Oneida.
Right.
And then having to, now you have a space for it to back into and,
Right,
yeah, okay.
and unload, yep.
All right. That makes sense.
Are the coolers opening into the building? And
Yes, that's correct.
And is there exterior venting of those coolers or?
No, I don't believe so, Kevin. There's no openings in that rear area, right? I think they're solid walls.
There is an opening in the rear right now, but I think it's temporary.
Oh, it's temporary, yeah, yeah. But if I remember correctly, from the building elevation, there was no
It's
openings.
just the insulated wall.
Okay.
ZBA, Russ also did ask to add some bollards in front of the patio.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. We added a couple of bollards at those parking spaces
Okay.
at the request of, or suggestion of the zoning board of appeals.
Well, I know this has to have a public hearing,
Yes,
and I think we agreed to have a joint public hearing on the 16th of March
that's correct.
with the ZBA. This is a ZBA meeting,
Yes.
so we're the invited guests.
Right.
But this is going to kill two birds with one stone
Yeah.
because we would require a public hearing.
That's correct. And the applicant greatly appreciates you doing that.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Is there a house? I can't tell from this plan. Is there a house back here where the Compass Rose is?
Yeah, there's an existing two unit home there.
Okay, so what are you gonna do about noise abatement for this compressor?
There's some vegetation there. I mean, we can maybe add some additional
Well, I think you better
vegetation.
enclose a couple sides of it. Compressors make a lot of noise.
Okay.
Any other questions? Wayne, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Dave? Okay. You good? You all set? All right, then, I guess
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
we will see you in a couple of weeks. Dave, we talked about this, I think I mentioned it was on the 12th. It's on the 16th, obviously. So we will see you at the joint public hearing.
Very good. Thank you. Have
All
a good
right.
night.
Okay, last on our agenda is the Grafton Quarry. I don't believe there's anybody here for that, is it?
No, it's not. planning on
Good.
being there.
We got a.
And just to be clear, I think that was a scheduling issue, not
Yes.
a lack of desire to be there.
Well, the situation we have with this is that we have been asked by the board, the town board, to make a recommendation on this zoning change for this. I assume everybody's got their packet on this, except for me. We got a letter from the town requesting a recommendation. So we should discuss this a little bit. And I think I'm going to turn the floor over to Kevin just to get us up to date on this. If you would.
So this applicant is requesting to change, I think it's 4 parcels.
Yes.
From A40 to heavy industrial, which allows for mining operation. Those 4 parcels that are right now in our town are not allowed for mining operation. So for him to basically expand the mine into our town, those 4 parcels need to be zoned heavy industrial.
And these,
That's the
these
rationale
4
for it.
parcels are all on the south side of Route 2.
Correct.
And the
And-
town line is that straight line that at the back of those 4 parcels.
Yes.
The town line, yeah.
It's this straight line.
So basically, the quarry is in the town of Grafton, is that correct?
That's correct. And as the applicant had mentioned to you, for him to get to the full use of his floor, they're required to bench the sides. So in order for him to expand his floor, get to his floor elevation, expand that floor, he needs to bench into our town at some point in time, which he's estimating would be in 40, 70 years from now. But nonetheless, they're looking to do that change now.
40
Yeah,
to 70.
40 to 70 years, yeah.
Now, in the purchase of that property, there's no residence or there's nothing there, is that correct? Goes right down woods to the,
The closest residence is like over
Yeah.
500 feet away.
well, considering the fact that there's a quarry there already, and then there's another quarry on the other side, it would make sense if they were to purchase this property and expand, to me, that, it would be a reasonable request to change the zone.
Yeah, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong. They would still require to go through DEC, right? Chris?
Correct. So if this property were already zoned for mining, they wouldn't even be coming to us. They'd be going to DEC to amend their existing permit for the mining Grafton. And they'll still have to do that. It's a chicken and the egg, cart and the horse thing.
Yeah.
DEC will not allow them to submit an application unless the property is zoned for mining. So they've come to the town board, asked that these 4 parcels get rezoned to heavy industrial, specifically to allow expansion of the mining. Town code requires that request go to the town board, but then come to the planning board for a recommendation, which is why it's in front of you. So you'll give your recommendation one way or the other. It'll be up to the planning board to decide whether to grant the rezoning. And if they do, the applicant will still need to go to DEC with a full application. Here's our plan, and DEC will review it as they typically do on this.
Do we know if this parcel here is owned by the quarry?
It is. Which one is that?
This lower parcel in Grafton?
This one here?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too. There's also another one here. These two small little triangles there.
He had a map of this.
The
but I
very
don't have
small
a map in
triangle
my
is one of the
packet.
four, and then on the opposite side, John, that small triangle is owned by Grafton Quarry.
This is wicked steep.
Yeah.
This land is very steep. Going from the road up to the quarry. I would have some serious concerns about runoff and the visual impact.
So if the rezoning is approved, that's a preliminary step. Those issues that you're raising will be reviewed by DEC as part of a seeker review. The town will be an involved agency in that and will be able to express exactly those concerns and any other ones that we might have.
So once we make our recommendation,
You're done for
We're
now. Right.
okay. Wayne, do you have any comments on that?
No, I'm good.
Anybody have any other comments?
Yeah, tonight,
We could do this tonight, right? We could make a motion.
So the code requires that the planning board provide its recommendation within 30 days. I don't know when the planning board received the actual referral from the town board. You could certainly do it tonight. I think you would also be able to do it at your next meeting if you felt you weren't in a position to do it tonight. But probably, either now or the 19th.
I mean, actually, the request was made, it stated February 26th.
Where are you getting that date from?
This is the date that the
Okay, all right.
town officially
Right.
asked us to
Right.
review this.
So then that's correct. Either tonight or at your March 19th meeting would be within the 30 days.
Okay. Does anybody have any problem with making the recommendation tonight? I don't think there's any conditions or anything. We just.
No,
We've reviewed the,
Assuming the members are ready and assuming somebody wants to make a motion to offer a favorable recommendation on the application, that would be the motion. Somebody seconds, so you can take a vote.
all right.
we don't have to do it next year or anything.
No, because you're not making a decision, you're giving a recommendation. It's not binding.
Okay. Does anybody want to make that?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
There's a second. Is there any further discussion on that?
Could you just tell me what the motion is again?
So it would be a motion to make a favorable recommendation on the application to the town board.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes,
You're opposed?
I do.
Okay. So there's
Motion carried.
five
Right, the one-
nays and one. Does that have to be recorded in the minutes?
Yeah, the minutes will reflect the outcome of the vote and who
Okay.
voted aye, who voted nay.
Okay. Okay, that completes our agenda. Is there any new business? Okay, we have received some, we've received a packet of additional letters from residents regarding the Paramount Builders Group for the Crick Road, Spring Avenue, Colton project. These have obviously been received after the public hearing, but they will be submitted into the record and available. And that's all I have. I'd like to review a couple things, just as a matter of procedure. I am not going to be in town for the next couple weeks, so I am going to miss the joint public hearing on the 16th and the meeting, the planning board meeting on the 19th. I have talked to Dave. He's going to chair those meetings, kicking and screaming, but he's going to do that. And I have something for you. This is a procedure for public hearings. On the 19th, just to review the agenda.
Is this original?
No.
You got a copy?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just wondering how I've had it protected over my life for. Yeah, that's probably something faster.
Easy, it's not that hard. Just read it. Okay, just to review our agenda for the 19th, we have two public hearings. We have one for Fisher, that's the minor subdivision out Tamarack Road there.
Yeah.
And then we have a second, it's actually two public hearings that are going to be conducted at the same time for AT&T, and these are the amendments to the site plans and special use permits for the two cell towers. So that's on for the 19th. Also on the 19th is tentatively Paramount Building. And that's it. Golden Grain is, we're waiting until oh no, I guess they could come before us on the 19th if the,
Yes, Golden Gray would like to be on the next.
okay, so they're on, okay. So they are, so there's 4 items that I have. Does anybody have anything else? Am I missing anything, Andy? Okay.
I will say that Burger King is working on revised site plan. I don't know if they'll be asked to be listed as new business for that meeting yet. They're working with us right now. It's a site plan changes.
Okay.
Want to add a turning lane and do some rebranding
And then on the 2nd,
do some sidewalks.
Mavis Tire is going to be here, and Kyle Smith is going to have the public hearing at 7 o'clock. And then on the 16th, we have the Silas and Paramount. Well, Paramount has extended their time frame there to the 16th. So for next week, we have 2 public hearings for Fisher, AT&T. One's at 7, one's at 7:15. And then we have Paramount tentatively. We have Golden Grain. And that's it.
Does anybody think they're not going to be here for the Monday night meeting?
Yes, the Monday night meeting. Is there anybody here that will not make that? That's the joint public hearing.
Mike Chorney's on vacation, so he will not be here.
And I will.
This coming Monday, right?
I won't be here.
A week from Monday. So we just need to have a quorum of planning board members in order to hold our version of that public hearing. So we don't need everybody.
Well, there's
but-
two outs that have these 5 remaining, so I think that the question is pretty valid.
I'll be here.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I'll be here.
That's at 7 o'clock.
no, that's at 6 o'clock.
It's based on the ZBA meeting schedule. They start at 6.
Make sure it's 6.
It was good schedule.
Get you home early.
Okay, is there anything else under old
My-
business
my
that anybody
request to be
wishes
at
to
that public hearing?
discuss?
Sit down there.
What's that one?
Do I need to be at that public hearing?
Well, if you're not doing anything, yeah. Stop by if you want.
Mr. Chairman, do you want me at that public hearing?
Probably won't act on them until Thursday. same week.
That's for Golden.
Give us a chance to digest it.
Do you think you need to be there?
No?
So I think it's unlikely there's going to be any engineering issues that are going to require an immediate answer. We're going to do the public hearing, basically. If issues come up through that process that require engineering review, we can pick that up at the March 19th meeting and take it from there.
Yeah, you're not taking any other action anyway. You're just hearing the public hearing.
Right. If anybody has any comments, they gotta do
It's
them in
Dave.
writing anyways.
You gotta talk to Dave. I'm not gonna be here.
You can watch us on
All right,
TV.
Yeah, I'll watch it on TV.
okay. Nothing else? I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.